A Dupree woman. Find your inner strength.
Once we launch my purse line, we'll be on our way to giving the Kardashians a run for their money. I'm gonna shake things up.
A cycle of anger isn't healthy.
I'll be healthy again as soon as I make a couple of cheaters pay for blowing up my life.
There were a number of times when you or a member of your family needed a favor. This is a situation where you owe me one. Have a nice rest of your day.
It sounds like someone deliberately tried to hurt you.
Sounds like attempted murder.
Can't imagine how terrified you must have been.
I found out who did this.
All the frustration, the confusion, the years of watching his family crumble under a weight he couldn't name, focused into a white-hot point of rage. "You!" Sam yelled, his voice tearing through the suburban quiet. He vaulted the fence with an easy, furious grace, landing squarely in the miller's manicured lawn. "What did you do to my family?" Martin held up his hands, a placating gesture that only inflamed Sam further. "Sam, this isn't the time or the place. You need to calm down and go back home." "Home." Sam spat the word. "What home? The one you're paying for? Why, Martin? Why are you giving my father money? What is this, some kind of guilt payment?" From her bench in the shadows, Kat watched, paralyzed. She saw Sam, her Sam, vibrating with a pain so profound it seemed to alter the air around him. She saw her father, his face a mask of strained patience over sheer panic. "It's not that simple, Sam," Martin said, his voice low, trying to contain the explosion. "Then simplify it," Sam shouted, taking a step closer. "Tell me what he did. Or what you did. Just tell me the truth." Helen and Sarah had now emerged from their respective houses, their faces pale and frightened, drawn by the shouting. They stood as silent sentinels on either side of the fence, a physical representation of the chasm between the two families. The truth. Martin's composure finally snapped. The stress of the secret, the phone call, the sight of this furious boy in his garden, broke him. "You want the truth, Sam? The truth is your father is a coward. The truth is he came to me, begging, because he couldn't face the consequences of his own incompetence." It was the wrong thing to say. A cheap, evasive shot that missed the heart of the matter entirely. Sam saw red. The vague, haunting fear that had lived in him for years, the feeling that he was the cause of his father's despair, his mother's quiet tears, crystallized in that moment. He launched himself at Martin. It wasn't a clean punch. It was a clumsy, desperate tackle, born of a grief he couldn't articulate. The two of them, the middle-aged banker and the enraged young man, crashed onto the perfect green lawn, a tangle of flailing limbs and guttural shouts. "Stop it. Sam, stop." Sarah screamed from the fence line. "Martin, for God's sake." Helen cried, her hands flying to her mouth. Kat finally moved. She ran from the shadows, her own tears streaming down her face. "Sam, Dad, stop." But they were beyond hearing. Sam was on top, not punching, but gripping Martin's shirt, shaking him. Tell me what it is. Why do you hate us? Why does my dad hate me?" It was the raw, unvarnished question at the core of it all. Martin, pinned, his glasses askew, looked up into the boy's anguished face. And in a moment of catastrophic clarity, he saw not Ray Carver's son, but a scared kid, just like his own daughter. The fight went out of both of them. Sam slumped off, kneeling on the grass, his shoulders shaking with silent, heaving sobs. Martin lay there, breathing heavily, the fight and the lie utterly defeated. Into the sudden, ringing silence, Kat's voice was small and broken. "I heard you on the phone, Dad." All eyes turned to her. Helen's were wide with confusion, Sarah's with dawning horror. Martin closed his eyes, as if in physical pain. "I heard you," Kat repeated, her gaze fixed on her father. "You were talking to Ray. About money. About keeping it quiet for the kids. You said, knowing what your boy." She couldn't finish. She didn't need to. Sam looked up, his tear-streaked face a mask of confusion. Knowing what? Knowing what? It was Sarah who spoke, her voice a ghost of a whisper that carried across the still night.
Oh, God.
Ray. And as if summoned by his shame, Ray Carver finally appeared at the fence. He didn't climb over. He simply stood there, a broken man, looking at the wreckage in the miller's garden, at his weeping son, and at the woman he'd lied to for years. The car accident, Ray said, the words costing him everything. The one that put Helen in the hospital all those years ago. The one that caused the injury, the one that meant she could never have another child. He looked directly at Kat, his eyes brimming with a bottomless sorrow. It wasn't Martin who was driving your mother's car that day, Kat. The world stopped. The universe narrowed to that single, devastating point on the lawn. Ray's gaze shifted to his own son. It was me, Sam. I was driving. And the little boy on the bicycle that I swerved to avoid, the one who got a concussion and a broken arm. Martin finally found his voice, hoarse and defeated. Was Kat's brother. My son. The secret, out at last, was a physical presence, sucking the air from the garden. The staged feud, the payments, it was all a desperate, ugly pact between two fathers to hide a single, life-altering moment. One man's mistake had irrevocably bound them together, forcing them to live as enemies to protect their children from a truth they believed was too terrible to bear. But as Sam looked from a shattered father to Kat's horrified face, he understood the terrible, ironic cost of their silence. In trying to protect them, they had torn everything apart. The two families stood in the ruins of the lie, separated by a fence that now seemed a mile high, united by a pain that was only just beginning.